Part 12. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuchi. Chapter 111. Guanghe Washington Mansion. As one of the four wealthy families in the capital of Dongshan Province, the Chu family, whose main development direction is abroad, will naturally be favored by the Holy See. As a direct descendant of the Chu family, Chu's Hongaiu, who had experience studying abroad, was the focus of the Holy See's efforts to win over and train. Therefore, Chu's Hongaiu, who has the help of experts from the Holy See, must have an absolute advantage and upper hand when he conflicts with Zhu Zhenjun, who only has the help of experts from the inner family. Brother Zhu, can you give us a detailed introduction to the experts of the Holy See? When Third Grandpa went down the mountain to practice, it was during the highly tense Cold War period between the East and the West. Therefore, the third grandfather has not really come into contact with the masters of the Western Holy See, but has only heard about some from the mouths of some seniors who have experienced wars. At the same time, the Chinese orthodoxy and Western barbarian ideas also made third grandpa look down on some Western monks from the bottom of his heart. This also led him to be very interested in the Western Holy See's practice methods and the martial arts they displayed. Strong, very strong, very strong. After putting down the bottle of wine in his hand, Zhu Zhenjun said with a hint of panic in his eyes. There are two Western masters beside Chu's Hongaiu. One of them is so fast that you can barely see the shadow, and the other can release white light that burns everything by raising his hand. The 7 internal masters hired by my Zhu family at a sky-high price only lasted less than 3 seconds before they were easily killed by the opponent. It's so fast that the naked eye can't catch it, and it can cast white light that burns everything. After hearing Zhu Zhenjun's introduction, Zhang Fenjai's originally relaxed expression suddenly became serious. If you mobilize 50% of your spiritual power to perform Qing Feng step, you can also reach a speed that is indistinguishable to the naked eye. But being able to cast the magical ability to burn everything with just a raise of his hand was something he simply couldn't do without the help of talismans. Therefore, Zhang Fenjai, who was wary, quickly put down the wine bottle in his hand, borrowed a wolf brush stroke from Zhu Zhenjun, and then used his own essence and blood and the essence blood of monsters to draw a defensive talisman using the blackmailed top talisman paper. Charm and an attack charm. Next, he did not accompany Zhu Zhenjun to eat barbecue and drink beer, but directly practiced in the living room with his knees bent so that he could deal with the unknown strong man at his peak. Dihao Entertainment City is located in the most prosperous commercial street in the city center. It is a large leisure center integrating bathing, massage, bar, KTV and accommodation. It is also one of the most high-end entertainment venues in Ningji City. Among the people in Ningji City, they have the most intuitive evaluation of Dihao Entertainment City, that is, 1 more, 1 high, and 1 complete. 1 refers to many beauties and handsome men. 1 high means that the consumption is frighteningly high. Yuquan refers to personal safety during play. 11 o'clock in the evening is the busiest time for the entire entertainment city. The vehicles coming and going make the 4 doormen guarding the door so busy that they don't even have time to breathe. However, when a stretched Lincoln and 2 black Land Rovers came slowly, the 4 doormen quickly shouted at the cars in front of them to get out of the way, and then approached them with flattering faces. When 3 luxury cars stopped steadily at the door, 8 bodyguards in black suits, burly and with sharp expressions got out of 2 black Land Rovers. 8 bodyguards in black kicked away the 4 doormen who came forward to curry favor, and then stood on both sides of the Lincoln door. When a black-clad bodyguard bent over and opened the car door, a handsome, feminine, pale-as-paper-faced foreign youth wearing a black tuxedo stepped out of the car with a gloomy expression. Immediately afterwards, a foreign middle-aged man in his 40s, holding a thick Bible and a silver cross hanging around his neck, also got out of the car with a gentle smile on his face. Finally, a young Chinese man who was about 25 or 26 years old, with a graceful demeanor, noble temperament and handsome appearance, put his arms around a young woman with a hot body and stunning appearance and stepped out of the car. It really brings glory to our Black Tiger Chamber of Commerce to have our nephews Hongyo come to Dahao Entertainment City. Just as the handsome young man walked toward the automatic expansion door of the entertainment city with his arms around the stunning woman, a group of 5 imposing middle-aged men quickly came forward to greet her. Among them, a middle-aged man wearing Tangshan suit and a flattering smile on his face who walked at the front greeted him warmly. "Who is that young man?" He was actually able to get the boss behind Dahao Entertainment City and the president of the Black Tiger Chamber of Commerce to go out and greet him in person. When seeing the middle-aged man in Tang suit greeting the young man with a fawning face, a guest who was resting in the sofa area in the hall seemed very surprised and asked a companion with a rich figure and extraordinary background next to him. Choose Hongyo, one of the 4 wealthy families in the provincial capital, a direct descendant of the Chu family. The rich middle-aged man glanced at the young man with a beautiful woman in his arms and a hint of arrogance in the corners of his eyes, and a trace of fear flashed in his eyes. Replied. "It turns out he is from the Chu family." After hearing the reply from the handsome companion, the guest who just took the initiative to ask about Chu's Hongyo's origin was so frightened that he quickly lowered his head and did not dare to continue to pay attention. "Uncle Tiger, you're welcome." Faced with the warm greeting of the middle-aged man in Tang suit, Chu's Hongyo nodded politely with an indifferent expression, and then started chatting in a low voice with the stunning girl next to him. Immediately afterwards, among the 8 black-clothed bodyguards following him, a bodyguard who was about 30 years old and had slightly protruding temples on both sides took a few steps up, and then asked the middle-aged man in Tang suit. "Next, I wonder how Mr. Tiger will entertain young masters Hongyo." The peony hall on the 6th floor is the largest, most luxuriously decorated, and most advanced private room in Dahao Entertainment City, and the 3 top stars are already waiting in the private room. Faced with Chu's Hongyo's obviously contemptuous and humiliating treatment, the middle-aged man in Tang suit not only did not show any displeasure, but also had a flattering smile on his face. "Sorry to bother Uncle Tiger." When Chu's Hongyo heard about the 3 top stars in the entertainment city, his eyes showed a trace of desire and satisfaction. After a polite thank you, he walked towards the elevator with the woman in his arms. At the same time, more than 20 security guards holding sticks, at the signal of the middle-aged man in Tang suit, began to forcibly expel some guests waiting for the elevator. It is said that customers are God. But when faced with the unreasonable 20 or so security thugs, even if the guests swore in their hearts that they would never come again, they left the elevator obediently. When Chu's Hongyo saw the 20 or so skilled security guards, a sinister look flashed in his eyes. He waved to Tiger Master and whispered in his ear. "Don't worry, nephews Hongyo, Ma Zhengu, will arrange it immediately." After hearing Chu's Hongyo's order, the middle-aged man in Tang suit immediately nodded and agreed. However, when Chu's Hongyo led 2 foreigners and 8 bodyguards to the elevator, Ma Zhengu's eyes revealed a hint of hesitation and worry. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuqi. Chapter 112. A pure black Bugatti Veyron is like a black ghost, randomly shuttled in the busy traffic. Zhu Zhenjun, who was in the driver's seat, skillfully turned the steering wheel to overtake and said with a smile that only a man could understand on his face. "Brother, the reason why your Dahao Entertainment City in Ningji City is so famous throughout Dongshan Province is actually due to the 5 most stunning figures, especially the stunning twins who are known as the best among women. Drugs in men. It is said that there was once a wealthy man from Yingdong who spent millions to pay for the services of a pair of stunning girls for one night. He could only get out of bed with the support of his bodyguards the next day, and he left this exclamation when he left. If you die under the peonies, you will be charming even if you are a ghost. If you can have 2 charming attendants, $1 million will be like dung." After easily passing a taxi, Zhu Zhenjun turned his head and glanced at Zhang Fenjai, who had a longing look on his face, and couldn't help but joke. "Brother, If you have enough confidence in your endurance and combat effectiveness, then how about I pay to secure a pair of peerless beauties for you after you finish dealing with Chu's Honggaiu. Facing Zhu Zhenjun's teasing, which may be regarded as a reward for helping, although Zhang Fengjai wanted to pat his chest to show that he was strong, his guilty conscience of not having any actual combat experience and his instinctive shyness about such things made his face turn red. He turned to look at the scenery outside the car without paying any attention to it. "Brother, you're not still a virgin, are you?" Zhang Fengjai neither tried his best to prove his fighting ability nor flatly refused like a gentleman, which immediately aroused Zhu Zhenjun's interest. He glanced at the other person from the corner of his eyes, and when he noticed that his face was slightly shy, he immediately asked in surprise. In response to this, Zhang Fengjai didn't know what to retort except giving him a more guilty look. "After all, I am indeed a genuine virgin." "Ha ha." Zhang Fengjai's angrily glare made Zhu Zhenjun confirm that the other party was a virgin. He stepped on the accelerator and accelerated towards Dihao Entertainment. He couldn't help laughing and continued teasing. "It seems that the stunning Shuang Jiao is going to give my brother 2 big red envelopes tonight." Under the control of the black Bugatti Veyron, who was overtaking and speeding one after another, it took less than 10 minutes to arrive at the brightly lit Emgrand Entertainment City. "Brother Zhu, don't stop the car and continue to circle around the entertainment city." Just when Zhu Zhenjun was about to drive into the main entrance of the entertainment city, Zhang Fengjai suddenly reached out to stop him and ordered with a solemn expression, "Okay." In response, Zhu Zhenjun nodded without objection, and then walked around the entire entertainment city at a relatively slow speed. Occupying the green dragon in the east to gather wealth, the white tiger in the west to avoid evil spirits, and the vermilion bird in the south to bring blessings. The only thing lacking is the terrain of Suanwu town. This is clearly a 5-ghost wealth-moving array forbidden by Taoist scriptures. Zhang Fengjai's face gradually darkened as he looked at the 3-headed mythical beast statues located in the southeast, northwest, and northwest corners of the Dihao Entertainment City, as well as the basalt statue buried in the ground in the north. "Brother, what's wrong with you?" Although he didn't understand what Zhang Fengjai was talking to himself just now, his gloomy expression let Zhu Zhenjun know that he was probably encountering a rather difficult problem. For his own selfish desires, he ruined the wealth and fortune of hundreds of people. The boss of Dihao Entertainment City deserves to die. The 5 ghosts moving wealth formation is a formation based on the terrain in Taoist Feng Shui and combined with the statues of mythical beasts. Use the power of the formation to forcibly deprive all living beings within a few miles of their wealth and luck, and then gather them all into the Dihao Entertainment City. In this way, not only can the business of the entertainment city be guaranteed to make money every day, but it can also increase the fortune of the entertainment city owner. In other words, the reason why the business of Dihao Entertainment City is so prosperous is that although the 5 top players mentioned by Zhu Zhenjun are indispensable, the 5 ghosts moving the money array are the real reason for the prosperity. What's the price? The misfortune and bad luck left by the 5 ghosts to move money formation will make most people within a few miles impoverished and ruin the lives of people close to the entertainment city. Brother Zhu, let's go. The 5 ghosts wealth moving formation is a top formation in Taoist Feng Shui. With his current Feng Shui attainments and cultivation, he needs to use several top Feng Shui treasures to crack it. Therefore, he could only temporarily suppress the anger in his heart, and plan to wait until he gathered the Feng Shui treasures in the future, and then find a way to break the 5 ghosts wealth transferring formation in his own way and treat him personally. Let the boss of Dihao Entertainment City experience the power of bad luck and misfortune for himself, and experience the tragedy of a family being destroyed. The main job of the doorman is to welcome and deliver guests. As a doorman at Dihao Entertainment City, your job responsibility is to take the initiative to open the car door, and then send the guests into the lobby with a smile and enthusiasm. But when the top luxury car Bugatti Veyron drove to the entrance of the entertainment city, the 4 doormen turned a blind eye and went to greet other guests. This made Zhu Zhenjun's expression darken and he gritted his teeth. This must be the idea of that bastard Chu Honghai. He just wants to use this despicable and shameless method to humiliate me. Brother Zhu, is your car strong? After hearing Zhu Zhenjun's gritted explanation, Zhang Fengjai, who was in a bad mood, asked with a cold light flashing in his eyes. The X-factory price is nearly 30 million, and the modification costs 30 million. Brother, do you think it will be strong? Although he didn't know what Zhang Fengjai wanted to do, Zhu Zhenjun still answered truthfully. Zi. The cost of a sports car for transportation is nearly 60 million. After hearing the price given by Zhu Zhenjun, Zhang Fengjai took a breath of cold air, and was reluctant to damage such an expensive sports car. So, he bit his finger and drew a dragon and phoenix rune on the car window, and then ordered Zhu Zhenjun. Brother Zhu, since no one actively welcomes us, then we will drive indirectly. Okay. Although the collision with the hard-tempered glass will cause certain damage to the car, compared with regaining the face of being humiliated, Zhu Zhenjun can still accept the price of damage to the car. What's more, since you, Ma Zhenglong, are flattering Chu's Honghai of the Chu family, don't blame me, Zhu Zhenjun, for losing your face. So, after Zhu Zhenjun gritted his teeth and responded, he drove the sports car away from the door. Zhu Zhenjun's sudden move to drive away not only puzzled the 4 doormen and more than 30 security guards, but also made Ma Zhenggu, who was sitting in the monitoring room, look puzzled. However, when the Bugatti Veyron stepped on the accelerator and rushed over like a black whirlwind, whether it was the doorman, the security guard, or the countless guests at the scene, their faces could not help but change. Boom! Crash! Accompanied by a strong crash and the sound of countless fragments scattering, the black Bugatti Veyron rushed directly into the hall, and then, under Zhu Zhenjun's superb driving skills, it stopped steadily in front of the piano on the east side of the hall. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuqi. Chapter 113. In the Dahao Entertainment City. Pointing at the blood-red runes that suddenly disappeared on the car window, Zhu Zhenjun asked in great surprise. Brother, what is going on? Because just as he accelerated the sports car and rushed towards the tempered glass of the entertainment city, the runes on the car window suddenly emitted a red light. The red light first shattered the hard-tempered glass. In other words, the reason why the hard-tempered glass shattered had nothing to do with the sports car. It's just an attack spell in Taoist magic, there's nothing to be surprised about. After explaining with a relaxed look, Zhang Fengjai opened the car door and walked out. Zhu Zhenjun, who got out of the car right after him, hurried to the front of the sports car and observed it carefully. Then, he showed an incredible look in his eyes, because the front and body of the Bugatti Veyron did not show any damage. Brother Zhu, can you play the piano? Zhang Fengjai asked Zhu Zhenjun with a relaxed look while moving his hands and feet to warm up and looking at the more than 30 security guards who surrounded him with steel bars and machetes. No. Although he had learned piano for a few days when he was a child, when the sound he played was not as good as farting, Zhu Zhenjun completely gave up the skill that could be used to seduce beautiful women. What a pity. Originally, he wanted to play the exciting piano music and replay the wonderful fighting scene in the movie Huang Fi Hung, A Man Should Be Self-Reliant that he had just watched today, but the regret of not being able to cooperate with the performance made him temporarily extinguish this beautiful dream. Brother, wait a moment. Zhu Zhenjun could hear the regret in Zhang Fengjai's tone. He didn't want to disappoint him and glanced at Si. Then, after a reminder with a bright look in his eyes, he quickly ran to the rest area. Then, he took out a stack of red tickets and asked a beautiful woman in a white dress who looked like a fairy in the wind. Beauty, can you play the piano? The girl in white nodded blankly. Play a song for my brother, and the money will be yours. Putting the money directly in the girl's hand, Zhu Zhenjun forcibly pulled her to the piano. Can you play the passionate version of Men Should Be Self-Reliant? Although he did not agree with Zhu Zhenjun's forced buying and selling, in order to satisfy his beautiful ideas, he could only turn a blind eye to the girl in white and asked. Yes. Perhaps because of Zhang Fenjai's clear eyes and simple smile, the girl in white, who was in fear gradually calmed down, and then nodded in response to his previous question. Then please play a song Men Should Be Self-Reliant. After a polite gesture, Zhang Fenjai turned around and looked at his opponent, who was less than 3 meters away from him, waiting for the sound of the piano to sound. Heroic spirit faces thousands of waves, and passionate blood is like the red sun. Just as the piano sounded, Zhang Fenjai rushed into the crowd like Huang Fi Hung in the movie. He dodged the machete by leaning sideways and knocked the opponent away with one shoulder. He leaned back and kicked the opponent away with his right foot. With Tai Chi gestures, he sent 5 opponents flying in succession. He kicked out of the air with a shadowless kick, knocking out more than a dozen opponents in succession. Hot blood, hot heart, hot, brighter than the sun. When the first section of the piano just ended, 36 security guards holding weapons either fainted or fell to the ground howling. Beautiful. If the attack speed was compared, Zhang Fenjai's performance just now was definitely not as good as those internal masters who practiced internal strength. But if it was just a competition of viewing and incitement, then Zhang Fenjai's real performance just now, combined with the Men Should Be Self-Reliant played by the girl in white, was absolutely perfect. So, in the excited cheers of Zhu Zhenjun, the guests in the hall couldn't help but stand up and applaud. However, Ma Zhengu, who was sitting on the chair in the monitoring room, had a gloomy face as if water could drip. Because Zhang Fenjai's wonderful performance just now was not only a slap in the face, but also a naked shame for him. After all, it was he who followed Chu Hongai's orders and ordered the doorman to ignore Zhu Zhenjun's arrival, and it was he who ordered the club's thugs to besiege Zhang Fenjai. Jing Gang immediately arranged Bio Z and others to ambush in front of the elevator on the 6th floor, and then use real weapons to kill that kid for me. Pointing at Zhang Fenjai in the surveillance, Ma Zhengu gritted his teeth and ordered a middle-aged man behind him who was about 40 years old, wearing a casual suit, and had a slightly elegant temperament. President, you must not do that. After hearing Ma Zhengu's order, the middle-aged man called Jing Gang couldn't help but change his face and quickly persuaded. As the saying goes, swords and guns have no eyes, and sticks are merciless. If Bio Z and his men accidentally hurt Zhu Zhenjun, with the strength and connections of our Chamber of Commerce, we simply cannot withstand the wrath of the Zhu family. In fact, the middle-aged man known as Jing Gang had one more thing to say, that is, even if he used real weapons, he might not be able to kill the extraordinary Zhang Fenjai. Then what do you say? In fact, Ma Zhengu, who knew more clearly about the power and terror of the Zhu family, had only given an impulsive order just now, and he had long regretted it in his heart. It was just that he didn't want to lose face in front of his subordinates, so he was unwilling to change his decision on his own initiative. Fortunately, the subordinate known as Jing Gang's timely persuasion gave him a way out. So, without mentioning revenge, Ma Zhengu also wanted to know how his confidants and think tanks could resolve the troubles in front of him. 8 bodyguards with real weapons, and 2 foreigners who made Bio Z and the others feel extremely dangerous. Faced with Ma Zhengu's questioning, the subordinate called Jing Gang said confidently, "President, I think Master Chu should help us deal with that skilled kid." In conjunction with the resonant Men Should Be Self-Reliant, they defeated more than 30 thugs with sticks and machetes with elegant and chic skills, not only avenging the humiliation that was just despised by Dahao Entertainment City, but also making them the center of attention. So, when Zhang Fenjai turned back to the piano, Zhu Zhenjun, who was extremely excited, clenched his fists and praised, "Brother, well done." In response, Zhang Fengjai smiled indifferently and thanked the girl in white who had just played the piano. "Thank you, girl. The song you played just now was excellent." "You're welcome." The girl in white quickly stood up and waved her hand. "Beautiful." When Zhang Fengjai saw the girl in white, his first feeling was that the girl in front of him was very beautiful. Unlike Sulizi's stunning beauty and Shen Loxi's nobleness, the girl in white in front of him was like a lotus flower that was unstained by mud, giving people a holy temperament that can only be admired from a distance and cannot be played with up close. Of course, in addition to the holy beauty that made people feel bright, what really caught Zhang Fengjai's attention was the completely dim father's palace and the trace of black hair that slowly came out between his eyebrows. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuqi. Chapter 114. Dihao Entertainment City, in the lobby on the first floor. The dimness of the parents' palace indicates that the pure girl in white is an orphan without a father or a mother. The bright light on the left sister's palace indicates that there is a younger sister who needs to be taken care of. The green color of the three palaces of wealth, fortune, and luck indicates that her current life is rather difficult. The black hair that slowly appeared between her eyebrows indicates that the trouble she is about to encounter must be caused by the song "Men Should Be Self-Reliant" that she played with him just now. Therefore, whether it is public or private, or emotional, or reasonable, he must help the other party change her current difficult life and eliminate her fate of being in trouble. "Brother Zhu, how much money do you have?" The 20,000 yuan of the 2 million donation from Gaihe Shopping Plaza was intercepted, leaving only more than 19,300 yuan, and more than 5,700 yuan was obtained from Zhu Ziqiang's wallet. If all is added up, it is only 25,000 yuan, which is not enough to change the difficult life of the girl in white, so he can only ask for help from Zhu Zhenjun, who is not short of money. "Brother, how much do you want?" Zhu Zhenjun asked without asking why Zhang Fengjai wanted money. He took out his wallet directly. 75,000 yuan. The more money you help, the better. If you want to completely change your poor life, you have to rely on your own hands to work hard and fight. Therefore, considering the face, fortune, and actual situation of the girl in white, Zhang Fengjai chose a more reasonable and safe number. After taking a look at the more than 20,000 cash in Zhang Fengjai's hand and the amount he just mentioned, Zhu Zhenjun immediately guessed why he wanted money. 100,000 yuan is a huge sum of money for ordinary people. But for Zhu Zhenjun, who came from a wealthy family, 100,000 yuan is just a meal, a play, and a passionate expense. So, he took out a bank card from his wallet without hesitation and handed it to Zhang Fengjai. "Brother, there are 3 million in this bank card, and the password is 6 zeros. Taking the bank card handed over by Zhu Zhenjun, Zhang Fengjai handed it directly to the girl in white with more than 20,000 cash in his hand, and ordered solemnly, "Girl, take this card and this money and leave Dihao Entertainment City quickly. Don't leave your residence easily within 10 days. 10 days later, go to Yongsheng Group on the 28th floor of Xintang Building to find me. My name is Zhang Fengjai, my Taoist name is Kingxiu, and I am the personal bodyguard of General Manager Shen of Yongsheng Group." The holy appearance and the embarrassing life gave the girl in white a lonely and self-reliant character. Faced with the bank card and cash given by Zhang Fengjai, she instinctively wanted to refuse. But Zhang Fengjai's next words made her change her mind immediately and took the cash and bank card, and then left Dihao Entertainment City quickly. Don't refuse arrogantly, and don't act on impulse. Because Dihao Entertainment City has regarded you as our accomplice, they will come to trouble you soon, so listen to me and take the money and leave here quickly. Looking at the girl in white who took the bank card and cash and left the hall quickly, Zhu Zhenjun asked with a flash of curiosity in his eyes. "Brother, if this girl doesn't come to Xintang Building to find you 10 days later, what will you do? After all, there is 3 million cash in the bank card that can be withdrawn at any time, which is a huge sum that ordinary people can't save in their lifetime." Faced with Zhu Zhenjun's questioning, Zhang Fengjai just chuckled and didn't answer. Because he believed that the arrogant girl in white would not only not do the greedy thing of embezzling the bank card, but also probably wouldn't use the cash he gave her. Of course, even if he really misjudged the person, the girl in white would not be able to occupy the greedy heart to embezzle the huge sum of 3 million, and leave with the bank card privately. Then, he also has a way to make the other party obediently spit out the bank card while suffering the due punishment. After all, it has never been so easy to take advantage of people in the Taoist section, otherwise, how could those emperors who enjoy wealth and glory die inexplicably? Ding dong. Seeing that Zhang Fengjai was unwilling to explain more, Zhu Zhenjun did not continue to ask. Then, when he took out his mobile phone and prepared to call Chu Honggao to ask about the next meeting place, the phone suddenly rang with a text message. "Brother, let's go. Chu Honggao is already waiting for us in the Peony Hall on the 6th floor." After reading the meeting place mentioned in the mobile phone text message, Zhu Zhenjun put away his mobile phone and gestured. "Xiao Wang, I don't care what method you use, you must investigate the information of the young man just now in the shortest time." Just as Zhang Fengjai and Zhu Zhenjun walked towards the elevator entrance on the east side of the hall, an old man in his 60s with silver hair and elegant temperament in the rest area instructed a young man in his 20s. "Director Su, do you want to invite that young man to act in a movie?" After hearing the elegant old man's order, the young man guessed with his eyes rolling. "That's right." The elegant old man called Director Su said with excitement in his eyes. "Deep martial arts skills, elegant temperament, and skills that are completely integrated with the background music. Xiao Wang, the appearance of this young man can not only revive the declining martial arts movies, but also help me win the gold awards for the best director, best action, best film, and best picture at the Oorica." "The leading actor?" the young man asked with envy and jealousy in his eyes. "Not only the leading actor, but also the first leading actor in all my future martial arts movies," Director Su continued to respond excitedly. As the elevator door to the 6th floor slowly opened, a chaotic and harsh sound of musical instruments and roars immediately rang in his ears, which made Zhang Fengjai frown slightly. However, although he was very disgusted with this noisy environment, he had already agreed to Zhu Zhenjun's request and could only relax his brows and follow him out of the elevator. "Master Zhu, please come this way." Just as Zhang Fengjai and Zhu Zhenjun left the elevator, two strong men in short sleeves and tattoos on their arms bowed respectfully. Following the two strong men, passing the dance floor with flashing lights and passing through the crazy twisting men and women, Zhang Fengjai and Zhu Zhenjun came to a box with the golden words Peony Hall on the doorframe. Bang, bang, bang. One of the sturdy men with dragon tattoos on his arms knocked 3 times on the bulletproof glass door. Then, the glass door was pushed open from the inside. After turning his head and nodding to Zhang Fengjai, Zhu Zhenjun took a deep breath and strode into the box. As Zhu Zhenjun entered the box, Zhang Fengjai quietly took out a talisman and used his spiritual power to drive the talisman directly into the glass door. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuqi. Chapter 115. Dihao Entertainment City, in the private room of the Peony Hall. The moment Zhang Fengjai followed Zhu Zhenjun into the private room, he immediately noticed the two foreigners sitting on the sofa. The young man in a tuxedo, handsome, feminine, and holding a glass of red wine in his hand, faintly exuded a hint of inhumanity. The middle-aged man in a black round-neck suit with a kind smile on his face gave him a vague sense of danger. Fortunately, danger does not mean fatality. The opponent's strength is weaker than expected, and the originally nervous mood suddenly relaxed. "Xiaojun, you are here." After reaching out to hug the somewhat nervous stunning girl, Chu Honggao greeted Zhu Zhenjun with a hint of pride in his eyes. Zhu Zhenjun, who was originally calm, gradually became gloomy when he saw the stunning girl. When he saw Chu Honggao's right hand tightly hugging the other's waist, his face was even gloomy as if water could drip. "Brother Zhu, why don't you introduce me to your brother?" Feeling the anger burning in Zhu Zhenjun's body, Zhang Fengjai was worried that he would fall into the trap of the other party after losing his mind due to anger, so he quickly reached out and patted his shoulder heavily. The pain from his shoulder calmed Zhu Zhenjun down from his anger immediately, and then he pointed at Chu's Hongaiu and introduced him. Chu's Hongaiu, nicknamed Chu Balian, is deeply loved by some rich ladies. He is the third son of the head of the Chu family in the provincial capital. When Zhu Zhenjun mentioned Chu Balian's nickname, the smug look in Chu's Hongaiu's eyes was instantly replaced by viciousness. His right hand, which was holding his waist, suddenly grabbed hard, causing the stunning girl to almost cry out in pain. In response, Zhu Zhenjun's eyes flashed with anger and pointed at the stunning girl and introduced her. Zhang Jinjia, a student of the performance department of the Provincial Film and Television Academy, my ex-girlfriend. When the word ex-girlfriend was mentioned, the anger in Zhu Zhenjun's eyes was instantly replaced by sadness, which was enough to prove how much he loved Zhang Jinjia before. After scanning Zhang Jinjia's facial features, Zhang Fengjai turned his head and sighed to Zhu Zhenjun. Brother Zhu, you are lucky. Brother, what do you mean? Zhu Zhenjun frowned slightly and asked in confusion. Her face is full of peaks, her face is cold, her chin is pointed, and there is no flesh under her eyes. This is a typical sarcastic face. Pointing at Zhang Yaya's facial features, Zhang Fengjai gradually introduced them in detail. The pink and purple color of the male and female palaces on both sides of her eyebrows indicates that she has strong needs in that area and is likely to cheat on her man. The countless broken marks on the husband and wife palaces below her eyebrows, but no straight line through them, indicate that she will experience countless men in her life but will not be able to find her own marriage. The thin nose, and the three palaces of wealth, fortune, and luck are covered with a hint of gray, indicating that the other party will have no wealth, no fortune, and no luck in this life. This is the most typical husband-killing face in physiognomy. Nonsense, Chu's Hongaiu shouted with a gloomy face after hearing Zhang Fengjai's fortune-telling for Zhang Jinjia. Chu's Hongaiu, is it nonsense or not? Don't you know it in your heart? Zhang Fengjai turned around and looked at Chu's Hongaiu, and asked repeatedly. Has the business you are in charge of suffered losses in the recent period? Have you often suffered dissatisfaction and criticism from the elders of the family, or even suddenly become impotent when doing that kind of thing? After hearing Zhang Fengjai's continuous questions, Chu's Hongaiu's eyes first flashed with surprise, then fear, and finally anger. After all, impotence is the greatest humiliation for a man. Impotence. Haha. Facing Zhang Fengjai's continuous questions, Chu's Hongaiu's expression changed, allowing Zhu Zhenjun to immediately seize the other party's handle, and then deliberately laughed loudly. I don't know if those rich ladies in the provincial capital will cry and help you find a famous doctor after hearing this news. Zhu Zhenjun, shut up. Zhu Zhenjun's deliberate ridicule, especially the secret of impotence, was leaked to acquaintances, which made Chu's Hongaiu feel humiliated. This made him immediately angry and shouted, and directly raised his hand to slap Zhang Jinjia aside. Pa! In response, Zhu Zhenjun stopped laughing, and there was no trace of heartache and pity in his eyes except for a trace of indifference. However, Zhang Fengjai did not want to let the other party go. Because Zhang Jinjia's betrayal of Zhu Zhenjun suddenly reminded him of Lin Qilan, who had an affair with his wife, and the delusion that Lin Qilan and Lin Deyuan would completely draw a line between themselves and the Zhang family. Girl, with brother Zhu's wealth and fortune, he is one of the few people who can offset the fate of killing his husband, and it is also the only chance in your life to change your own destiny. But the greed of people's greed has buried your own luck with your own hands. In the future, you will not only fall into the dust, but also be plagued by illness and no one will see you off. Zhang Jinjia, whose dream was shattered by Chu's Hongaiu's slap, was already very regretful and terrified in her heart. When she heard Zhang Fengjai's prediction of her future fate, regret and fear were replaced by fear, and she fainted directly from fear. But both Chu's Hongaiu and Zhu Zhenjun ignored it. Only the foreign youth with a slightly feminine temperament stared at Zhang Jinji's pink neck, and a look of desire and greed flashed in his eyes. Although he was young, his appearance revealed a complex expression like the vicissitudes of life. He has a handsome appearance, but he exudes a hint of inhumanity. Looking at the protruding veins on Zhang Jinji's neck, his eyes reveal a look of desire and greed. The obscure performance of the foreign youth just now made Zhang Fengjai vaguely guess the other party's true identity, and he had already thought of a way to deal with the other party. "Brother, sit down." The fate of Zhang Jinja being abandoned by Chu Hongyu on the spot completely eliminated the depression and anger that had been accumulated in Zhu Zhenjun's heart. At this time, he suddenly felt good. He reached out and picked up the 2 bottles of beer on the coffee table, threw one to Zhang Fengjai, and motioned him to sit next to him. After all, whether it was 8 bodyguards in black suits or 2 mysterious foreigners, Zhang Fengjai would need to deal with them personally next. Wait. But just as Zhang Fengjai walked to Zhu Zhenjun's side and was about to sit down, Chu Hongyu suddenly stopped him. "In this box, apart from me, the host, only the most distinguished guests are qualified to sit." Speaking of this, Chu Hongyu nodded to the middle-aged man and the feminine young man who always had a kind smile on their faces. "This is Bishop Gerald of Liangji, and this is Viscount Alex of Liangji. I wonder what your identity is. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuqi. Chapter 116. Dihao Entertainment City, in the private room of Peony Hall. A trader who admires foreign things and flatters foreigners. Regarding Chu Hongyu's submissive treatment of Gerald and Alex just now, Zhang Fengjai commented in a low voice, and then replied with an indifferent expression while sitting directly on the sofa. "I am an upright Chinese, with the blood of descendants of Yan and Huang flowing in my veins." Whether it was a low-pitched comment or an indifferent self-introduction, they all used his identity as a Chinese to slap himself in the face. This made Chu Hongyu furious, and at the same time, he immediately waved to the 4 bodyguards behind him. Commanded, "Destroy this boy." "Yes, master." After the 4 agile bodyguards responded, they immediately dispersed and planned to surround Zhang Feng. But at this moment, a shadow as fast as the wind quickly hit the 4 bodyguards' necks, causing them to faint due to short-term suffocation. But Zhang Fengjai took a leisurely sip of beer as if he didn't take any action. So fast, the glass in his hand was suddenly crushed, and Alex commented to himself with a flash of surprise in his eyes. "Move the real guy." Zhang Fengjai defeated the 4 bodyguards as fast as the wind, making Chu Hongyu think that he must be an internal expert that Zhu Zhenjun paid a lot of money to invite. With the Chu family's financial resources and status, they can certainly easily recruit top internal masters, and they also know how to deal with top internal masters like Zhang Fengjai who are good at speed. Therefore, with a contemptuous sneer flashing in his eyes, Chu Hongyu immediately gave instructions to the remaining 4 bodyguards. Boom! Along with 4 strong explosions in the box, the May 4th pistols in the hands of the 4 bodyguards suddenly exploded. Except for the bodyguard with a slightly protruding temple, who reacted quickly and stepped back in time without suffering any damage from the explosion of the pistol, the remaining 3 bodyguards had their faces covered with the remains of pistols and fragments of bullets. Bang, bang, bang. With the sound of 3 heavy objects falling, the 3 burly bodyguards fell to the ground completely lifeless. This made Chu Hongyu's face instantly darken. "Papa!" The moment the 3 bodyguards collapsed to the ground, and just when Chu Hongyu was about to ask for help from Gerald and Alex, the sound of Alex clapping suddenly sounded in the box. With a speed as fast as the wind, while knocking out the 4 bodyguards, he took the 4 cherries in the fruit plate. Using exquisite concealed weapon techniques, he used 4 cherries to block the whole of the gun, causing the pistol to explode, killing 3 skilled bodyguards directly. Young man, it seems that you are a Chinese master who is proficient in speed. Excellent. Facing Alex's praise, Zhang Fengjai said politely with an indifferent expression. But it's a pity that in front of me, Viscount Alex, the speed you have is like a baby that has just learned to walk, it is too slow. Alex was not dissatisfied at all because of Zhang Fengjai's overly cold attitude. After pouring out another glass of red wine, he shook his head with contempt in his eyes. Really? Zhang Fengjai asked with the same contempt in his eyes as he shook the beer bottle in his hand. He. After letting out a disdainful chuckle, Alex, holding a wine glass in his hand, appeared in front of Zhang Fengjai at an unimaginable speed. But to Zhu Zhenjun, Chu's Honggaiu and Zhejuani's surprise, Alex's stretched out fingers of his left hand suddenly stopped 3 centimeters away from Zhang Fengjai's neck, and the wine glass in his right hand began to shake. How can a mere ordinary vampire bat that has been around for 100 years have the right to look down on the inheritance of my Chinese family's martial arts? Zhang Fengjai retaliates contemptuously, while retracting the right hand inserted into Alex's chest. When Zhu Zhenjun and Chu's Honggaiu saw Zhang Fengjai's right hand holding a beating heart, they couldn't help but take a breath. Gerald stood up suddenly, and the loving smile on his face was replaced by solemnity. You, how did you see my speed? As a non-human creature, Alex possesses extremely powerful vitality. Even after losing his heart that was the source of strength and life, he still did not immediately lose his life and took a few steps back, then asked with his face as pale as a blank sheet of paper. Viscount Alex, your speed is too slow. It was so slow that I could barely feel it when my 5 fingers touched your chest. Glancing at the heart that was still beating strongly in his hand, Zhang Fengjai continued to sneer contemptuously while slowly crushing the heart with his right hand. At the same time, you neither have the courage to continue the attack with both sides hurt, nor do you have the courage to blow up your heart even if both sides are harmed, so death is your final fate. After hearing Zhang Fengjai's taunt, a look of understanding flashed in Alex's eyes. Bang! But when Zhang Fengjai's heart was crushed in his hand without hesitation, a pungent white smoke suddenly emerged from Alex's body. After the acrid white smoke dissipated, Alex's body inexplicably transformed into a white bat. Vampire, when he saw Alex's body turned into a white bat, Zhu Zhenjun stood up suddenly and shouted. While Chu's Honggaiu's face was slightly pale, a look of panic flashed in his eyes. Because he himself didn't know Alex's identity as a vampire, and he didn't know whether the reputation and status of the Chu family would be affected if the identity of the vampire was revealed. After all, in Western folklore, there is an everlasting hatred between the church and vampires. At the same time, nearly 80% of the Chu family's business is abroad, and they need the protection and support of the church. If the news of his friendship with vampires is leaked, will it cause the wrath of the church's high-level officials, thus affecting the Chu family's business abroad? Mr. Chu, don't worry. Alex is a heretic I captured alive 5 years ago. The reason why I didn't let him return to Satan's arms immediately is just to use the warmth of the world to resolve his inner abuse and see if he can change his faith and benefit the world. When he noticed the panic in Chu's Honggaiu's eyes, the shrewd Gerald immediately guessed the reason for his panic and immediately lied to comfort him. And with Gerald's comfort, Chu's Honggaiu gradually calmed down. Ha ha. In response, Zhang Fengjai couldn't help but sneer with joy. First of all, vampires cannot change their ability to grow by sucking blood. The dark power in their bodies is like water and fire to the clergy of the church. Moreover, Jarek's strength is not much stronger than Alex. Therefore, in his opinion, Alex is not a defeated opponent of Jarek. The relationship between the two should be a cooperative alliance, and the purpose is probably to reoccupy the rich land of China and its 1.4 billion people. After all, the development of the church requires the power of faith, and the growth of vampires requires sucking blood. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuqi. Chapter 117. Dehao Entertainment City, in the box of the Peony Hall. The mocking sneer immediately aroused Chu's Hongai's dissatisfaction. He pointed at Zhang Fengjai with a frosty face and asked Zhurl. Master Zhurl, please send him to God. Mr. Chu, I'm afraid I can't do your request. But to the surprise of Chu's Hongaiu and Zhu Zhenjun, Zhurl slowly opened the Bible in his hand and shook his head to reject Chu's Hongaiu's request. Why? Chu's Hongaiu immediately asked in confusion. Because after the death of the masters of your Huaxia Dao sect, it seems that they are under the control of the 10 kings of hell in hell, and they cannot return to the embrace of the merciful and loving God. Turning around and looking at Zhang Fengjai leaning on the sofa, Zhurl teased with a confident face. Just right. After hearing Zhurl's teasing reply, Chu's Hongaiu was stunned for a moment, and then said with ecstasy on his face. If this kid goes to hell after death, then let the judge and the king of hell count his sins of killing people and see if he needs to endure more than 10 levels of torture in hell. Chu's Hongaiu, whether this ugly foreigner can send me to hell is still unknown, but I can tell you clearly now. Facing Zhurl's inexplicable self-confidence and Chu's Hongaiu's reckless threats, Zhang Fengjai slowly put down the bottle in his hand and said with a cold and sarcastic look. You Chu's Hongaiu will not only go to hell after death, but the punishment for your serious sins will make you bear all the punishments in hell, and then reincarnate as a pig and a dog among the 6 animals. Lord Zhurl, help me kill him, Chu's Hongaiu, who was instantly furious when he heard Zhang Fengjai's sarcasm, immediately ordered Zhurl. God said, let there be light in the world, and there was light. Just as Chu's Hongaiu's voice fell, Zhurl turned to a page of the Bible and sang. The 3 pure ones said God should die, so God died. Zhang Fengjai could feel the powerful energy gathered in the Bible in Zhurl's hand during his chanting. He did not wait to defend himself. He chanted the 3 pure ones in the same tone. When he humiliated the hypocritical god, he threw out the 36 gold coins in his sleeves. At the same time, a group of white light like the scorching sun quickly appeared on the surface of the Bible in Zhurl's hand after he finished chanting. Afterwards, because of Zhang Fengjai's insult to God, Zhurl, with a gloomy face, waved his hand and shot out a white light like the scorching sun, and shouted. Destruction! Facing the white light rushing at him like a gust of wind, Zhang Fengjai did not panic at all. He pinched his fingers and chanted a spell. The sky and the earth are boundless, and the money turns into a sword. It quickly combined into a gold sword about 7 inches long. Under the control of Zhang Fengjai's mind, it directly pierced the rushing white light. The white light like the scorching sun was not broken, and the sword made of money was not bounced away by the white light. The two entered a state of wrestling. Seeing Zhang Fengjai hastily use the sword made of money to successfully resist the light of God condensed by the power of faith, Zhurl's face changed slightly, and he turned to the 2nd page of the Bible and continued to chant. God said that the world should be peaceful, so all sins will disappear. Along with Zhurl's 2nd chant, a more dazzling white light quickly emerged from the Bible. The sky and the earth are boundless, and the universe borrows the law. Just as Zhurl began to chant for the 2nd time, Zhang Fengjai was also not idle. He immediately took out a talisman from his sleeve and threw it directly at the money sword while continuing to shout. As the talisman paper was attached to the money sword and burned automatically, the money sword with increased power directly pierced the white light that was wrestling, and slashed directly at Zhurl at the speed of a gust of wind. God is with me. When seeing the money sword stabbing at a fast speed like a gust of wind, Zhurl's face suddenly changed, and he directly covered himself with the white light gathered in the Bible to resist the attack of the money sword. Knowing that the golden money sword, which had consumed nearly half of its power, would definitely not be able to break the more powerful white light, Zhang Fengjai directly rushed to Jiduaner with the Qingfeng step, and stretched out his hand to grasp the hilt of the golden money sword. Then, he mobilized 70% of his spiritual power to penetrate the golden money sword, and then pierce the white light bit by bit. Seeing that Jiruir was completely at a disadvantage and was in danger of being assassinated by Zhang Fengjai at any time, Chu's Hongaiu, whose face changed slightly, immediately winked at the bodyguard with a protruding temple. After nodding in response to Chu's Hongaiu's eyes, the bodyguard with a protruding temple took a deep breath, and while his right foot retreated half a step, his palms gradually turned green, and then rushed towards Zhang Fengjai like a cannonball. The three pure ones show their divine power, and the divine tiger subdues demons. But just as the bodyguard with a protruding temple just started to sprint, Zhang Fengjai's free left hand directly threw out a talisman paper that had been prepared in advance, and used the remaining 30% of his spiritual power to drive the talisman. Woo! Accompanied by a low and suppressed roar, the automatically burning talisman paper quickly transformed into a blue tiger with a height of more than 2 meters and a body length of 4 meters, and then directly met the bodyguard who was rushing towards him. Bang, snap, crack, snap. The blue tiger transformed by the monster blood and the top talisman paper has the strength equivalent to the top masters in the realm of great internal strength. The bodyguard with the protruding temple has reached the peak of the realm of small internal strength. Originally, there was a big gap in strength between the two, and the opponent was no match for the blue tiger. However, the bodyguard with the protruding temple used the narrow space of the box and the unsuitable means for the blue tiger to dodge and sneak attack, and gradually gained a certain advantage. If this situation is allowed to develop, the blue tiger will eventually become a discarded talisman paper again due to excessive energy consumption. Fortunately, Zhang Fengjai, who will not be affected for the time being, uses 70% of the spiritual power in the Danshan and the money sword that uses the talisman to increase the attack power. While breaking the white light defense, he directly pierces Jiral's heart. Damn sinner, dare to hurt God's people, God's wrath will destroy everything. Jiral, whose vitality is far less powerful than the vampire Alex, knows that the result of his heart being pierced is that he will die. The stimulation of despair makes him completely crazy. While roaring with a ferocious look, he directly begins to detonate the power of faith accumulated in the Bible. Not good. Feeling the terrifying destructive power surging wildly from the Bible in Jiral's hand, Zhang Fengjai's face was empty as he flashed in front of Zhu Zhenjun and pulled him directly into the bathroom of the box. Then, he cut his finger and squeezed out 5 drops of blood, and at lightning speed, he drew 5 spells at the 4 corners and the middle of the door. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuqi. Chapter 118. Dihao Entertainment City, in the private room of Peony Hall. Boom. Accompanied by a deafening roar, the Bible in Jiral's hand was like a bomb. It instantly burst out with dazzling light, and at the same time, an invisible and terrifying impact force began to forcibly destroy everything in the private room. The first one to be destroyed was Chu's Hongaiu, who was closest to Jiral. When Zhang Fengjai suddenly pulled back and quickly hid in the bathroom with Zhu Zhenjun, he already felt that something was not right. But with ordinary people's reaction and action capabilities, he did not make any move to dodge or escape until the Bible exploded with dazzling light. In the end, under the sweep of the destructive power and under his incredible gaze, it completely turned into endless dust that was difficult to distinguish with the naked eye. The second one to be destroyed was the spotted blue tiger that wrapped around the bodyguard with all its strength. However, the blue tiger is only transformed from the energy of the blood of the monster and the talisman. It does not have any feelings of a living being, nor is it affected by fear. Therefore, even a second before the body was completely destroyed, it was still fighting desperately with the bodyguards with protruding temples. The third person destroyed was the bodyguard who tried to escape but couldn't. As a master of the inner family who has reached the pinnacle of internal strength, although he cannot feel the self-destruction of the Bible in advance like Zhang Fengjai, his rich combat awareness and experience allowed him to stand up to the enemy the moment he saw Zhang Fengjai retreat. He was clearly aware of the danger and made a timely move to escape from the box. But unfortunately, the blue tiger was not afraid of a life and death struggle, so he completely lost the time and opportunity to escape. In the end, under the gaze of unwilling and angry eyes, it was also destroyed into endless dust that was difficult to distinguish with the naked eye. Next, the unconscious Zhang Jinja in the box, the sofa and coffee table, the fine wine and fruit plate, the TV and the stereo were all turned into dust that disappeared forever under the sweep of the terrifying and destructive power. However, when Sideswipe's destructive power arrived at the door of the box and bathroom, the cyan light suddenly burst out from the two glass doors, successfully resisting Sideways' destructive power. In the end, the destructive force neither harmed Zhang Fengjai and Zhu Zhenjun hiding in the bathroom, nor alerted anyone outside the box. "Hey, there are people here." When the roar in the box disappeared, Zhu Zhenjun stood up and planned to open the door and go out to take a look. He unexpectedly found three beautiful people hiding in the corner of the bathroom with stunning looks and scantily clad clothes, but their faces were too pale and they were trembling all over. "Girl. It's you." After turning his head and taking a closer look at the faces of the three girls, Zhu Zhenjun immediately shouted to Zhang Fengjai in surprise. "Brother, these three girls are the three top names in Dahao Entertainment City. They are Miao Sheng and Miao Yin, known as the Stunning Twins, and Qin Qin, known as the Little Peony." After wiping away a trace of blood from the wound on his finger, Zhang Fengjai glanced at the three stunning girls without any surprise, then turned around, opened the glass door of the bathroom, and walked out. In fact, the moment he entered the box, he had already sensed the person hiding in the bathroom. It was just because of the pressure brought by Gerald and Alex that he did not tell Zhu Zhenjun in advance. "Brother, what on earth happened?" Seeing that Zhang Fengjai had no interest in the stunning Shuangjiao and Little Mutin, Zhu Zhenjun also lost interest in continuing to introduce their unique skills. At the same time, he was eager to know the cause of the explosion just now and the situation after the explosion, so he rushed out quickly. But when he saw that in the empty box, not only were Chu's Hongyo and Gerald missing, but even the sofa, coffee table, and TV were completely gone, there was a look of disbelief in his eyes. After the power of faith accumulated in the Bible was detonated, the destructive force formed instantly destroyed everything in the box into endless dust. After bending down to pick up a pair of sharp teeth and a broken cross, Zhang Fengjai explained, feeling extremely lucky. Fortunately, because Gerald's strength is average, the speed of detonating the power of faith in the Bible is not too fast, giving him enough time to dodge and draw the runes. At the same time, the power of faith accumulated in the Bible is not much, and the destructive power formed after detonation is not too strong. Otherwise, the defensive runes drawn in a hurry will not be able to withstand the impact of the destructive power. After being thankful, Zhang Fengjai also began to conduct a profound review of his complacency and mistakes just now. Originally, with his speed far surpassing that of the vampire Alex, he could either break Gerald's neck or directly shoot through his heart at the moment he started singing the Bible, leaving him with no chance to mobilize the power of faith in the Bible. But being too complacent gave Gerald time to mobilize the power of faith. Believing too much in the power of his Taoism gave Gerald the opportunity to die together before he died. "Brother, if I follow your explanation just now, will Chu's Hongyo and that foreign devil have completely disappeared from the world?" Zhu Zhenjun, who had calmed down for a while after hearing Zhang Fengjai's explanation, asked with a shocked expression. "Brother Zhu, not only has he completely disappeared from the world, but Gerald can't return to the embrace of God, and Chu's Hongyo can't get the punishment of hell." While replying to Zhu Zhenjun's question, Zhang Fengjai quickly adjusted his state and began to carefully inspect the walls and roof of the box. Although he quietly pasted a spell on the glass door when he entered the box, the power of the spell could only ensure that the glass door would not be damaged, but it could not take care of the walls and roof of the entire box. So, how did the walls and roof of the box resist the terrifying power formed by the explosion of the power of faith in the Bible? The fist containing spiritual power hit the roof ceiling directly from a height of nearly 2 meters. Bang! Accompanied by a crisp sound of hitting, a cyan light suddenly flashed across the roof ceiling. The cyan light not only offset the power of the fist's bombardment, but also the rebound force formed instantly, directly hitting his body along the fist. Fortunately, Zhang Fengjai, who had been prepared before the action, used the speed of the Qingfeng step to quickly remove the rebound force, and finally fell to the ground without any injury. So that's it? After seeing the cyan light flashing on the top of the floor, Zhang Fengjai finally knew why the walls and ceiling of the box were intact. At the same time, he already had a clear idea in his mind on how to crack the five ghosts moving wealth formation and take revenge on the boss behind the Dihao Entertainment City. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuqi. Chapter 119. Dihao Entertainment City, in the box of the Peony Hall. Brother, this is trouble. Zhu Zhenjun, who did not notice Zhang Fengjai's attack on the top of the box, lowered his head and carefully analyzed the impact of Chu's Honggaiu's death on the Chu family, him and Zhang Fengjai, and reminded him with a serious face. Chu's Honggaiu is not only the third son that the head of the Chu family loves the most, but his mother Jia Xinling is also the eldest daughter of the Red family in Beijing. The power and strength of the Jia family are not inferior to the Chu family. As one of the four major families in the provincial capital, my Zhu family has 1,000 connections with Beijing. I am not afraid of the joint revenge of the Chu family and the Jia family, but you, a brother without any background, are very dangerous. After hearing Zhu Zhenjun's reminder, although Zhang Fengjai was not afraid at all, he pretended to be very scared and asked, "Brother Zhu, what should I do?" The reason why he pretended to be scared was to test Zhu Zhenjun's character and see if he was a friend worth making friends with. If Zhu Zhenjun passes the character test, he will regard the other party as his friend, and he will do his best to help him no matter what difficulties and dangers he encounters in the future. But if he fails the character test, he will not only ask for a high reward, but also never have any intersection with each other again. Fortunately, Zhu Zhenjun's next answer made him very satisfied. "Brother, now you come back to the Zhu family in the provincial capital with me. With my position and voice in the family, my father and several elders will definitely do their best to protect you and will not let you suffer revenge from the Chu family and the Jia family. Brother Zhu, don't be nervous." After hearing Zhu Zhenjun's righteous proposal, Zhang Guoyu, with a look of relief in his eyes, reached out and patted his shoulder to comfort him. Then, he handed the sharp teeth and broken cross he had just picked up to Zhu Zhenjun and told him, "You will return to the Chu family in the provincial capital tomorrow morning, and then hand over this pair of teeth and the cross to the patriarch of the Chu family, and warn them for me. If you don't want others to know, you must not do it yourself. The martyrs and heroic spirits of the Taoist sect are still watching from heaven. Brother, will this work?" Zhu Zhenjun, who reached out to take the sharp teeth and the broken cross, showed a hint of doubt in his eyes. If the Chu family and the Jia family don't want to be uprooted, they will not only dare not retaliate against us brothers, but also give you and me a reward for keeping silent, Zhang Fengjai replied with a confident smile. Being able to become one of the four major families in the provincial capital, the patriarch and the older generation of the Chu family will definitely be able to contact the masters of the Taoist sect. Then, they will also learn about the century-long war between the Chinese Taoist sect and the Western Church, and the non-aggression agreement signed between them after the war. Although the masters of the Taoist sect can temporarily tolerate the invasion and infiltration of the Western Church and foreign races, they must not allow their own people to be traitors. Especially when there is solid evidence. Faced with the cross that can prove the Western Church and the vampire teeth of the Western alien race, the Chu family should first think of preventing the news from leaking out, avoiding alarming the masters in the Taoist sect, and then trying to erase all evidence and traces of Chu's Honggaiu's contact with the Western Church and the alien race. Therefore, in the short term, the Chu family will never retaliate blatantly. As for the revenge of the Chu family and the Jiao family in the future, when his cultivation breaks through the 7th level of Qi condensation, he has the strength of spiritual power and transformation, and can mobilize the power of the 5 special beings of Shushan to exert on him. Even if it is a stronger priest master of the church, a higher level vampire, and a foundation building master in the Taoist sect, Zhang Fengjai has enough confidence to make them come and go. Okay, then I'll give it a try. Zhu Zhenjun, who did not know the agreement between the Chinese Taoist sect and the Western Church, still nodded with doubt. Fortunately, his heartless character made him quickly put aside the worry of the Chu family's revenge, and then consider how to celebrate the victory. Turning his head to look at the peerless twins and little peony who were still hiding in the box, when he thought of Zhang Fengjai who was still a virgin, a trace of evil thoughts gradually emerged in his mind. Brother, after intense activities, you need to relax and adjust appropriately. Putting the sharp teeth and the broken cross in his wallet, Zhu Zhenjun smiled and suggested while walking towards the door of the box. Anyway, it's still early, and you and I are not in a hurry to go back, so why not open a new box to have fun? The fresh excitement of the first fight with the Western priests and vampires made Zhang Fengjai realize that it would be difficult for him to meditate and practice calmly in a short period of time, and he needed to relax to gradually relieve the excitement. So, facing Zhu Zhenjun's proposal, he nodded without objection. Go, arrange a comfortable large box for us again, and prepare all the fine wine. After getting Zhang Fengjai's consent, Zhu Zhenjun quickly opened the glass door of the box and instructed a staff member guarding the door. Because Zhu Zhenjun was too fat and tall, he completely blocked the door, so the staff in charge of the mutant hall box could not see what was going on inside the box. Therefore, in response to Zhu Zhenjun's instructions, the staff could only turn around and make new arrangements while using the wireless intercom to inform Biozi, who was in charge of the security of the entertainment city, about the situation. In the Rose Hall box next to the Peony Hall, Biozi released the intercom and explained in detail what the staff had just told Ma Zhenggu and Jing Gang, who were drinking and waiting in the box. President, it seems that young Master Chu is still a little wary of the existence of the Zhu family, and has not embarrassed the young master of the Zhu family too much. After hearing that the obese Zhu Zhenjun not only had not been beaten, but also had a happy smile on his face, Jing Gang, as a think tank and confidant, began to make self-righteous guesses. Furthermore, for Zhu Zhenjun's sake, that boy shouldn't be punished too severely. After hearing the conjecture of his confidant Jing Gang, Ma Zhenglong, whose face turned gloomy for a moment, lowered his head to consider for a while, then raised his head and gave instructions. Biozi, inform your people to assign the box in Lily Hall to the young master of the Zhu family. When Biozi gave orders to his men through the intercom, Ma Zhenglong stood up and picked up the wine glass. With a smile on his face again, he ordered to Jing Gang. Let's go and have a drink with the young master of the Chu family. Seeing that Ma Zhenglong was able to eliminate his resentment so quickly and continue to make friends with the two young masters of the Chu family and the Zhu family, Jing Gang felt admired and quickly picked up a wine glass and a bottle of foreign wine worth tens of thousands and followed him. The Best Physiognomist. Author, Yan Yun Yuqi. Chapter 120. Dihao Entertainment City, in the private room of Peony Hall. The sound of the piano, the sound of the piano, the sound of the piano, stop hiding in the toilet, come out quickly and accompany my brother to have a good time. After learning that the rearranged box was in Lily Hall, Zhu Zhenjun nodded with satisfaction. But before leaving the box, he gave instructions to the stunning Shuang Jiao and Xiao Mutan who were hiding in the corner of the bathroom. Sister Qin, what should I do? After hearing Zhu Zhenjun's instructions, the beautiful girl looked at little Peony with a pale face. What else can I do? After hearing Qin Sheng's questioning, little Peony complained with a hint of hatred in her eyes. The fat pig you once received is named Zhu Zhenjun. he is a direct descendant of the Zhu family in the provincial capital. His power and status are even higher than that of Chu's Hongaiu. That ordinary-looking boy can easily kill even vampires and Vatican masters. What else can we do besides using our unique skills to serve him well? However, what neither Qin Sheng nor Little Peony noticed was that Qin Sheng's appearance had a hint of pure Qin Yin, and not only was there no fear or resentment in his eyes, but there was a hint of expectation inexplicably. Let's go. After getting up and walking to the mirror in the bathroom, taking out the cosmetics and retouching her makeup, Xiao Mudan gestured to the stunning pair. Then, she stepped out of the bathroom, and happened to see Ma Zhenglong and Jing Gang, who opened the door and walked into the box, but were immediately stunned there, and quickly greeted them in surprise. "President, Brother Gang." "Little Peony, what exactly happened here?" Jing Gang asked with a slight tremor in his voice, pointing to the empty box. And Ma Zhenglong's eyes also turned to Little Peony. "President, what happened just now scared Kinkin to death." After hearing Jing Gang's interrogation, Xiao Mudan leaned directly against Ma Zhenglong, and while beating his chest, his expression was full of fear, and with tears in his eyes, he recounted everything that had just happened. A vampire as fast as the wind, a Vatican master who can use the Bible to cast the light of God, a skinny boy who is far stronger than the vampires and Vatican masters, Chu's Hongaiu, and 8 bodyguards who have no bones left. After hearing Little Peony's detailed account of what happened in the box in the Peony Hall, Ma Zhenglong and Jing Gang glanced at each other, and both noticed the look of horror in the other's eyes. As Ma Zhenglong's confidant and think tank, Jing Gang, who had never met Zhang Fengjai, quickly calmed down from his frightened expression. Then, he gave instructions to Little Peony, who looked solemn, and the stunning Shuang Jiao, who had just walked out of the bathroom. "Kinkin, the sound of the piano and the sound of the piano, hurry up and go to the Lily Hall to accompany Master Zhu. You must show off your most powerful skills and make the 2 young masters feel comfortable for me." After hearing Jing Gang's instructions, Little Mudan flashed a look of displeasure in her eyes. She raised her head and glanced at Ma Zhenglong, who was enjoying himself alone, but found that he showed no sign of anger or objection at all. He nodded in frustration and then led the way. The stunningly beautiful couple left the box. "President, please go back to the Rose Hall first," Jing Gang reminded in a serious tone after Little Peony and the stunning Shuang Jiao left the box. "All right." After sighing softly, he raised his head and took another look at the empty box. Ma Zhenglong turned around and left the box in Peony Hall. In the Lily Hall. "Brother, the reason why the stunning Shuang Jiao and Xiao Mudan are able to become the top names in Dihao Entertainment City and are famous throughout Dongshan province is not only their stunning appearance and devil's identity, but also the fact that the 3 of them have their own unique skills." While clinking bottles and drinking, he looked at the stunning Shuang Jiao and Xiao Mudan, who walked into the box with charming smiles on their faces. Zhu Zhenjun motioned for them to stand at the door while introducing them with a smile and tone that only men could understand. Little Peony's unique skill is called Ice and Fire. The average person can only hold it for 5 seconds. Those who can persist for 10 seconds are considered masters, those who can persist for 30 seconds are considered strong, and those who can persist for more than 1 minute seem to have never appeared before. And you? Perhaps it was the atmosphere of feasting and feasting, or perhaps it was the excitement after the killing. The original peace and quiet state of mind of the Taoist sect was completely lost, so he couldn't help but make color jokes with Zhu Zhenjun. 12 seconds. After hearing Zhang Fengjai's questioning, Zhu Zhenjun immediately straightened his chest and gave accurate figures with a hint of pride and confidence on his face. In response, Zhang Fengjai glanced at the other party with a half-smile but said nothing more. Little Peony, who specializes in the 2 worlds of ice and fire, definitely has the means to control the strength of the effect. For a direct descendant of a wealthy family like Zhu Zhenjun, she will definitely find a way to satisfy the other party while also giving him enough confidence. The slightly dim light did not allow Zhu Zhenjun to see Zhang Fenjai's half-smiling expression. He continued to introduce the unique skills of the stunning pair. The slightly shorter one is called Qin's Hung. She is the younger sister of the two beautiful girls. Her special skill is voice. Under the penetration of her unique voice, the average person can only hold on for 10 seconds at most. Those who exceed 30 seconds are considered masters, and those who exceed 1 minute are considered strong. It seems that those who exceed 5 minutes have never appeared. Zhu Zhenjun, who had been humiliated by Qin's Hung before, did not give Zhang Fenjai any chance to ask questions, and continued to introduce without any pause in his tone. The taller one is called Qin Yin. She is the younger sister of the two beautiful girls. Her special skills are waist and leg skills. Because she used to practice gymnastics and swimming, and later practiced yoga and ballet, which enabled her to fold her body at will. After introducing the unique skills of the stunning twins and the little peony, Zhu Zhenjun asked with a strange smile. "Brother, which one do you like?" After his eyes, which could see at night, swept over the faces of the stunning twins and the little peony, a dull emotion instantly cooled the boiling blood in his body, and then he waved his hand to signal. "Brother Zhu, let them go, we brothers should just drink and chat comfortably." Zhang Fenjai suddenly refused the services of the little peony and the stunning twins, which made Zhu Zhenjun stunned for a while. Then, he thought that Zhang Fenjai was not only a virgin, but also mentioned that he had enjoyed their services when introducing the unique skills of the little peony and the stunning twins, and immediately guessed the reason for his refusal. With a turn of his eyes, he immediately thought of a solution, then waved to Xiao Mudan and whispered in her ear. "Tell Ma Zhengu to arrange 2 clean people immediately." "Clean people?" "Meaning we are dirty and unclean people." After hearing Zhu Zhenjun's order, Xiao Mudan glared at Zhang Fenjai angrily, and then prepared to ask him if he looked down on people in special professions. But at this moment, a very familiar, yet distant and unfamiliar ringtone rang.